All right, so as we get ready for this election, as they continue to play these politricks, just want to just bring up a little point. This is something I actually stumbled across, I think, back in 2015. Maybe it's 2016. But anyway, we think that somehow we get the lesser of two evils in this whole Republican Democratic divide. But this right now, guys, we're in the Aquarian age. This is the age of enlightenment. We have to really got to let go of these old paradigms and wake up in what they've been telling us the new normal. And one thing is to realize what's really been going on, especially in regards to the government and these politics. But there was a young girl, I think 14-year-old girl years ago that found out that all the U.S. presidents are related. So we sitting around here playing around with all this black-white nonsense. These guys are looking at bloodlines, and they protect their bloodlines. The truth is in the bloodline. So I'm going to read this article, this short article here, but all but one U.S. president related. You see there at the time when the one we call Barack Hussein Obama was president. Just says, if America declared its independence from the European monarchies in 1776, how is it possible that every single president has descended from European monarchs? If presidents are democratically elected, as we are told, what are the odds that Americans always choose members of British and French royal bloodlines? Question mark. The Americans have always been owned and governed by the same royal families of Britain and Europe that conventional history states as being among those defeated during the wars of the so-called independence. And this is from Michael Tessarian, Astrotheology and Pseudo-mythology. Now, here's a continuation of these same bloodlines. As you can see now, old Dick Cheney right there, right? Look at old Dick. You know, Dick was a vice president of Bush, George W. Bush. And you can see Bush even ran against John Kerry, one of his cousins. You didn't even realize that we was out here talking about Kerry or Bush. You may relate it. But I want to hone in on one of these characters down here at the bottom, okay? Let's look at this guy right here. You see this guy right here, guys? That's Vlad the Impaler, okay? That's Count Dracula, man. These folks related to Dracula. See, when y'all see that story of Count Dracula, you got to realize that's true. Dracula was a cannibal. He ate people for real. Okay, so they just showed you where they would go out. He would go out there and impale them and and drink their blood. But Dracula would eat the bodies of the people. You got to go look at the history of Vlad the Impaler. And this is their blood relative of all these people. So you got to understand when you run into these polls and vote for these characters, what's in their bloodlines. And now it's time that we wake up to what's really going on, what's really has been going on for so long, because it really is nothing new. Genesis 22, verse 9 through 14. When they reached the place God had told him about, Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar, on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven, Abraham, Abraham. Here I am, he replied. Do not lay a hand on the boy, he said. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son. Abraham looked up, and there in a thicket he saw a ram caught by its horns. He went over and took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called that place, "The Lord will provide." And to this day it is said, "On the mountain of the Lord it will be provided." So as I just take a walk through nature and just contemplate, see, there was always also a backstory to Abraham and his people, because that was commonplace during that time, where there was sacrifice and there was child sacrifice. Now, unfortunately, Abraham was, fortunately, Abraham woke up in time to even hear God waken him into not to continue on with these old paradigms. Because, it said that in this chapter as it begins that Abraham was tested. And so, so we always make the one we call God like a co-conspirator to these heinous acts. So they justify Abraham taking up his son up there to kill him, to slay him, to sacrifice him. And they put it on God, but they said that God was going to test Abraham. But they don't tell you is that was the custom of the day. That was this cult that Abraham had come out of, okay? That's what they did. And unfortunately, this cult still exists. So we have been naive to some things. We haven't used really true discernment, because somebody just go put in there that God, testing Abraham, but they don't tell you that, no, this is what the one whom they call Abraham as an analogy, regardless, but that this is what they did. They sacrificed their children, okay? And so then you see the same ancient bloodline and Vlad the Impaler, and they come on up and you can understand things now. So now when you look at the rampantness of the pedophile ring, it'll really start to make sense, because this is nothing that's new. There's nothing that's new under the sun. So whenever there are times when this thing gets out of hand, the one whom we call God has to then intervene. And so that is allegedly what's going on now. And with these Politricks, where they're saying, okay, well, the one whom they call Trump, the divider in chief, he's allegedly is like going against his pedophile ring. That's what he's doing. He's draining the swamp. So that's the narrative, okay? He's like a savior in a sense, that he's saving our kids. And Trump's getting all the credit. But the thing is, when you understand that this is a vile, evil president that's been around for so long, I would just say, voting is your right, but just make sure that you're not out voting for somebody whom potentially could be part of the swamp. And I mean part of the swamp, man. You understand these people into some very, very nefarious things, and more is going to be brought to the light. So with that, I just say, hey, use your discernment and make the best decision possible, because you start to look at it, this is literally the lesser of two evils, I guess, is what you got to try to see who that is.
Last one, number 44, and the one before that, 43, Bush and Obama. Well, there are pictures of Bush with his arm around 8-year-old Barack Obama, because his stepdaddy, adopted daddy, Lolo Sotoro, had done a lifetime worth of business with the Bushes.
Wow.
Uncle George Herbert Walker, after whom George Herbert Walker Bush, Bush 1 president, was named, founded Halliburton in 1946 in Oklahoma. And Lolo Sotoro had been international executive vice president for Standard Oil.
There was talk of him being a CIA asset.
Well, yeah, see, he ran the death squads for the Indonesian army. On his own call, anyone could be assassinated. So when George Herbert Walker Bush became head of the CIA under the Ford administration, he just got with his old buddy in the oil business, Lolo Sotoro, and pulled off the hits. See, Barack's grandmother has been acknowledged as being the woman that operated the channels through which CIA money went to the Southwest Pacific. So she introduced her daughter, who had just had Barry, Barack, to Lolo Sotoro, and they got married, and Lolo Sotoro adopted Barack Obama. The name was changed to Barry Sotoro. Now, when he went to high school in Hawaii, I know about that high school. I almost sent my oldest son to it. I could afford it, but I didn't think he deserved it. 20 years ago, the tuition was $95,000 a year, not including room and board. When Obama went there, I've talked to two of his classmates. They independently state that the tuition, not including room and board, was $45,000. Now, Business Insider reports his income for 2017 at over $200 million net. That's after taxes, deductions, write-offs. For this last year, 2018, they reported it as $570+ million. And that's after all deductions, tax, right? Trump doesn't make that net. I mean, even some of the richest people in America don't make that. Why? Because when his stepdaddy died, he was one of the 10, 15 richest men on earth. And he left everything in a trust fund operated out of Indonesia, so the American government can't touch it. That makes Barack Obama 1/3 beneficiary for the assets of one of the 10, 15 richest men on earth. See, so we got a game run on us. So, you know that little thing that Bush W does when he gets with Michelle, they giggle and he gives her candy. The inside thing, is that supposed to be the same kind of candy he used to give to her husband when he was 6, 7, 8 years old?
It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
So before we go out and vote, it's important that we put all this in perspective as to what's really going on and not continue to fall for these politricks, all this political theater. I'm just going to read from an article posted, 5 years ago. This is not even new news, guys. But anyway, Pope Francis sends Obama a powerful letter via attorney on July 4th, 2014. Most truth seekers know that the Republic of the United States was turned into a corporation in 1871. That was what they call Reconstruction, guys, okay? And the U.S. corporation is ultimately owned by the Vatican. See the related links. This is what gives the Pope or the Vatican the authority in this letter. This letter was posted today, August 19, 2015. But if this posting is correct, it was sent to Obama over a year ago, July 4th, 2014. The letter not only confirms that the U.S. is operating under a corporation, but also confirms that the General Carter Ham will be heading up the new republic when it is announced. I believe the announcement will be part of the NESARA announcements. Now, we will get into NESARA and GESARA because that's what we should be talking about versus all this old nonsense in this political theater. Again, these politricks. It says, read the latest Matthew message I posted. Matthew basically says that the current pope is working for the light. Anyway, don't waste your time on a political circus concerning the U.S. election. I don't expect to see one, although there was one, okay? It says, when NESARA is announced, the new interim president becomes the president of the new republic for 6 months, after which free elections are held. We can then elect the interim president for another 4 years or elect someone else. The letter below is pretty self-explanatory. You may want to check out the attachment. Now, this one says Pope Francis sends out powerful Obama letter via attorney. Okay, so issued to all members of the domestic police forces, U.S. Marshal Service, the Provost Marshal, members of the American Bar Association, and the American Armed Services. These organic American states of the Union, known as United States of America, major, exercising plenary civil power upon the land, hereby appoint General Carter F. Ham to lead the command, the Grand Army of the Republic, GAR, and its successors under the guidance of the Joint Chiefs of Staff with their full support. Should it become necessary to suppress commercial mercenary forces operating under the guise of being federal government agencies, including but not limited to the Department of Homeland Security, the Federal Emergency Management Administration, the Internal Revenue Service, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, etc., General Ham shall assume immediate command and control of all the armed forces and services owed to the United States of America major stationed in North America and shall join them under the command as the Grand Army of the Republic. All forces of air, land, and sea are to be employed. Any cost or loss suffered as a result of the deployment of the Grand Army of the Republic shall be charged as stipulated prior. All efforts shall be made by the Grand Army of the Republic to spare life and property while undertaking any action whatsoever within the states of the Union without exception. The Guard is uniquely enabled by those orders to operate on the land of the 50 organic states for the purposes of securing the lives and property of the American states and the American state citizens. The Guard is not a foreign army and is composed primarily of American state citizens. It goes on to say, Mr. Obama is a president of a governmental services corporation under contract to provide stipulated services to the organic states and is on their payroll. He otherwise acts as a foreign dignitary representing the United States of America minor. In neither of these capacities is he allowed any granted authority to impose upon the American state citizens, endanger American state property, or command mercenary forces on American state soil. However, veiled as federal civilian service agencies, we require the Joint Chiefs of Staffs and General Ham to commence measures to disarm federal civilian agencies' personnel and to seize control of vast stockpiles of arms which have been improperly amassed by the Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, and other agencies employed by the United States. The only agency allowed free egress on the land of the American states is the U.S. Marshal Service, and then only when their personnel are engaged in their duty to protect the U.S. mail and sworn to act as constitutional officers. All other federal agency personnel are limited to unarmed service until further notice. We direct the Joint Chiefs of Staff to communicate these first two general civil orders directly to Mr. Obama, the members of the U.S. Congress, the administrators of all federal agencies, and the members of the Supreme Courts, and those acting as governors to compel them. So finally, something is coming out about these pedophile rings. In fact, if all the news about all these pedophile rings that's being unearthed were to come out, it would literally should be bombarding the airways, but you don't hear anything. But we finally got like a little snippet. And this says the U.S. Marshals rescued dozens of missing children in Georgia during Operation Not Forgotten. Now you see when I actually posted earlier from the decree from the Pope, you see who actually had the true power in the country. Again, it was the U.S. Marshals. So understanding what that's all about, and the operations are ongoing, and hopefully this will get more mainstream coverage. The article goes on to say the U.S. Marshal Service Missing Child Unit has rescued 26 children and confirmed the safety of an additional 13 while arresting 9 people for child trafficking related offenses in Georgia and in Atlanta and Macon, Georgia. The children rescued were aged between 3 and 17 years old, and 15 were confirmed as victims of sex trafficking. The massive sweep concluded the 2-week-long Operation Not Forgotten as officers cleared 26 arrest warrants in total, including charges of sex trafficking, parental kidnapping, registered sex offender violations, drugs and weapons possession, and custodial interference. Now, even when I go to the bottom here, they show you a picture here that goes to another article with Epstein and then Clinton and that whole connection. This is how I actually started the year off with a poem that was called Rejuvenation, talking about the whole Epstein and Clinton connection, Lolita Express, Epstein Island. Now they have Epstein's confidant, Ghislaine Maxwell, locked up, and she's apparently cooperating. And y'all also got to look at Harvey Weinstein. So what should come out if they release to the people is just how nefarious these acts have been going on. And this is these are ancient rituals, and these sex acts, guys. This stuff is not new. Human trafficking is rampant in this country. It's really, really bad, really horrific. preferably we can get some light shed on this so we can put an end to this nefarious side of our society. I've been telling people for a long time now, check into adrenochrome in this connection with also these little rings as well. But we are getting a little semblance now of some light being shed on this sick ancient practice. So just back to my initial point that this is all, again, just political theater, all just politricks. This isn't even a country as you know it. Your constitutional, your government has long been gone. I've told in different posts where I've shown where this is all just Roman Curium operations here in North America. You run out here when you don't know the real history of what's really going on. You can continue to get caught up in this whole nonsense that's going on now with this politics and let's get Trump out of there. Let's get Biden in there, and as if something's going to change. And you wonder why nothing has changed in all these years is because this is all just theater. And but interestingly enough, we live now in a very interesting time where the age of what we will call the Piscean age, based on I guess the Mayan calendar, kind of came to an end. December 2012. And what's being ushered in now is the Aquarian age. This is an age of knowledge, enlightenment. I guess you could say the age of truth. So the old paradigm, again, is continually being parroted in. And all these things that the people who have benefited during this paradigm, as they want to keep power, they're going to continue to give you all of this smoke and mirrors, false flags, whatever it may be, to keep that old paradigm. But we have to just be cognizant right now that if you want truth, you can literally just reach up into the ethers and the truth will come down. I've been telling a lot of people who would listen that right now it's just important, again, that you just tune into the right channel. You can tune into the channel of CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and those old paradigms. Or you can tune into a different channel, okay, and get the proper download, get the proper programming from above. In the church they call it the Holy Spirit, Spirit Guide, whatever it may be. You can channel your grandmama. You can channel, your uncle. You can tune into the channel that can give you the information that you need now, because they are in the ethers and they are readily available, especially in this paradigm. So let's just be cognizant not to go out here and continue to propagate all of this nonsense that's going on. And for what it's worth, 45 and the Orange Man, perhaps he is draining the swamp, because what I can really tell is the rulers of the old paradigm want to continue to hold on to power, and the way they're using it is that old paradigm where that whole is sick, okay, pedophilia, human trafficking. And so as we usher into the new paradigm, allegedly 45, meaning Trump, the Orange Man, is bringing light to what they've been doing, breaking down their rings, not only with the human trafficking, but also with the drugs and all that stuff. Years, it's been known that, the Bush clan, the biggest run of dope wasn't, Pablo Escobar, El Chapo. It was the Bush family, and they ended up involved with dope and, all the above, oil. You continue to see that name mixed up. But when you understand even deeper where they come from, you don't even understand the Nazi presence here, where, again, Prescott Bush being just a German Nazi operative, his sons. So these are all just old Germans that came here and allowed to rule in this paradigm, because Operation Paperclip, all of Hitler's guys came and amalgamated here into the States. Bush Sr., Herbert Walker Bush, had his term in CIA and also as president, and his son continued. And then unbeknownst to most people, Barry Soetoro, we know as Barack Obama, that whole chain continued. So just trying to put you guys on some knowledge. But also just in this whole BLM, I want to just kind of, we're fighting an ancient war, and I'm going to hop into that here shortly. Okay, so instead of falling for these politricks, what should we be looking into? So we should be looking into what's called GESARA and NESARA. Okay, GESARA is an acronym for Global Economic Security and Reformation Act, and has been written and redefined by great minds of the 20th and 21st centuries in order to reset the planet Earth and humanity on a sustainable governance foundation. Now, all you would just do for NESARA is just replace the G with an N. It'd just be just a national. Okay, so just the G is global and the N is national. Okay, the following three items. Let's just enlarge this real quick. So the following three items must be accomplished straight away: the global and public proclamation of a global jubilee or debt forgiveness, and a universal reset of planetary Earth humanity back to universal system of common governance in transparent and good standing with other member beings of the Galactic Federation. So this is just not about us, guys. It's the whole thing of this whole federation. It's more than what you think about this, what we call this universe or multiverse. Implementation of GESARA as a universal constitutional framework for global governance in all 209 sovereign nations per the signed 2015 Paris Agreement on Climate Change, starting with the restored Republic of the United States. Again, your de jure government has been long gone, so we got to get that back restored. Mass human disclosure of both non-humanoid extraterrestrial life in existence on the surface of this planet and throughout our shared galaxy. Then goes into why is NESARA even necessary? The existing cabal governing authority has intentionally and methodically hidden humanity's historical truth, including alien occupation and genetic tampering. Okay, that's when you go back into the Dracons. Okay, for over 13 millennia. That's 13,000 years. And thus why GESARA implementation is necessary now, as the galactic community has been tasked to stop and reverse the momentum of such rebellious and blatant actions against the creator source and human species. Together with humanity, all love warriors of the white light will now put an end to the cabal deceit, as well as reinstitute universal truth and justice without further delay or negotiation. What might GESARA manifest? So here are below are 25 specific items, but expect dozens more, so the list continues to grow. So now you want to restore constitutional law in the Republic of the United States of America. Remove USA Incorporated administration officials and all members of the U.S. Congress from their positions due to their continuous unconstitutional actions. So when they've done away with your true de jure government, and they are now operating again, like I've been saying for a long time, this country that you see as your constitutional government has been long gone. This country is no different than Walmart or J.C. Penney. Okay. And you can see it, but you can feel it, but most people don't see it. So we got to get back to that true de jure constitutional government. And that's when you see now that USA Inc. has got to go. All right, so forces the U.S. Inc.'s president, the vice president, the cabinet members, and members of the Congress to leave office because they are not actually constitutionally elected. This is all a fraud, okay? Suspends all elections everywhere in the world at all sovereign levels of government, okay? Allows the new Republic of the United States appointees to temporarily govern the country's affairs until fair and legal elections can be held, okay? Allows Republic military law enforcement to physically remove or eliminate any obstacle impeding GESARA law. Allows the Republic Congress to implement the natural constitutional line of secession versus you see as before the bloodlines where they putting all their cousins in office and they all their family, okay? Even Barack Hussein Obama, all these jokers are related. Eliminates all states of emergency, thus declaring peace for every law abiding by GESARA and its alliance. Forces the U.S. military to immediately remove troops from all sovereign nations who no longer will accept them to reside on their soil. That includes Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, and the Philippines. Zeroing out credit card balances and bank debt relief worldwide. Okay. Now, also activates the Republic's Treasury Bank and Republic Treasury, along with gold-backed USN currency printed and overseen by the Republic of the United States, and not the Federal Reserve, which has now, which will now be marginalized until eliminated. You understand that fraudulent system, that also another private system, that Federal Reserve, it ain't federal. It ain't never been federal, okay? This is what I write about, and this is what people, the patriots have been trying to tell people. But people, we got to get out of the way and stop trying to go into this old narrative and let the new light in. Federal income taxes federal income tax lies will be abolished, as will the old tax code. And now easier, simpler, and global tax code will be implemented on non-essential items. Essential items such as food and medicine and used items are exempt from sales tax, okay? The IRS, FEMA, shadow government lobbies will all be jailed and arrested. So all these bogus systems, okay, the Inquisition Revenue Services, all these alphabet agencies that are not constitutional agencies, they are not even federal, and all is a fraud, is all going to be abolished. Okay, so let's go on to 14. My eyes, I got to get this a little bit bigger with these old eyes of mine. Okay, so creates a new 17% flat rate on non-essential new items only, sales tax revenue for the government. Increases benefits to senior citizens and makes them permanent, okay? Establishes new presidential and congressional candidates within 120 days after GESARA's announcement, as the interim government will quickly be put in place to handle the nation's affairs until new leaders can be democratically elected, okay? So that's going to be just a plan once they get all these frauds out of office, your Nancy Pelosi's and all these characters and all that nonsense, get them out. International monitors will be present to prevent illegal voter ballot stuffing or fraudulent election activities of special interest groups. So everybody talking about some guys, it ain't about trying to get you to protect you from the so-called coronavirus and to keep you from the polls. It's so they can hijack the election through the voter fraud, through the mail now. And that's why they don't want you going to the polls, because, they're going to tell you, so you can't go to the polls because it won't be safe because you could possibly come down with COVID-19. Nonsense, okay? This is all, again, to continue to perpetuate the fraud that has existed for far too long. I just say get out of the way and just let the things take place, because it cannot happen until the people wake up and stop watching all this CNN and Fox News and get into some real knowledge of what's really going on. A new U.S. Treasury rainbow currency backed by gold, silver, platinum, precious metals will be issued into public circulation. You guys, understand your Constitution. The only real money is gold and silver, okay? Your precious metals, all right? Even my daughter and son, I've been telling them this over and over again. I want to set that foundation. And even to those of you who know, when you get a birthday or something now, I usually send you a little old silver piece as a way to remind you, hey, guys, this is real money, not this stuff we've been calling money, which is going to be used for nothing no more than a Charmin toilet paper to wipe your tail with, because its value has been eliminated, okay? Eliminates birth certificate records to be used as chattel property bonds by the U.S. Department of Transportation. I've been saying that before, the whole birth certificate fraud. You're straw man, all right? You're not your straw man. They've been using that, and we're the collateral against this massive global trust. We, the people, have been used as collateral. They show you this in the debt clock. Your responsibility for this fraudulent debt that has been accumulated. You are the human resource. This system, when you understand, you open your eyes up to it, and what's been happening to us, it is so diabolical. it is good to even see that people actually understand this and are waking up to this. Now it's up to the masses to understand this and stop. I see people just sitting out here propagating these old narratives, all these false paradigms. Get out of that mindset and let in a new light, because if right now, if you just got to be able to see it, I don't know what it's going to cause you to see it if you can't see it now, okay? Restores financial privacy globally. They're all into your business, man. They know every move you're making, all right? Resets all judges and attorneys back to constitutional law. They get you out of that admiralty, that law to see, that bogus system right there. And that you got to even understand, even in that system, why can't black people get any justice? One thing, because in that system, they don't even recognize black, okay? Black has no standing in the current system, and they ain't even recognized. So they can go out here and kill a so-called black man because he's not in his proper persons. It's like it never happened, because he doesn't even exist. Okay, black has zero standing in court. That's why they can continue to kill a so-called black man. But now, in a new system, we'll go back to a real constitutional system. But it's important that we have got to also claim our righteous nationhood. Okay, and that term black really needs to be abolished, because it has no standing. And so even going forward, we need to have something that we come up with and say, how do we identify ourselves with? Okay. Ceases all aggressive government military actions worldwide, including the Middle East. So they've been going over here literally jacking these folks all their riches and wealth, saying that they doing something in a noble cause, but it's all been for nefarious reasons, okay? Always just been smoke and mirror and just a bunch of bull. Establishes peace throughout the world as monitored by the UN Security Council, okay? Releases enormous sums of money for humanitarian purposes across planet Earth. Because now you can take the money from these frauds, we can redistribute it. That's why currently, well, you just understand what I've been saying over and over again. 2% of the people now have 98% of the wealth. That is the proportions are way off. So that now could be distributed equally amongst the people, okay, and across the whole earth. Then enables the release of thousands of hidden patents for suppressed technologies currently held under the guise of national security, including free energy devices, anti-gravity, and social sonic healing machines. So you got all this ancient technology that's been around for so long. Like they sell like the Tesla energy, 0-point energy. You got people who got caught, have been designing cars that can run on like water, and they just end up dying, So much stuff has been suppressed to continue to feed into the cabal in the old system that can keep the old way going with all this oil and all this stuff. You can just track it all back. All the people that's involved with all that old system, like even with the oil, you look at those names. You look at Halliburton. Come on, you look at Halliburton, you got the Bushes, you got the Satoros, then you got Cheney. You just connect the dots. But now the cabal, this thing is all about to just put an end to all this. I hope it happens. And I guess we shall see. Okay, real change. Real change cannot happen until the cabal governments have been ousted and replaced by people-controlled administrations. The use of chemtrails to destroy humanity and the crops people depend on for their survival must be stopped. Now, I've been talking about this for years, and everybody be like, man, what are you talking about, man? I like, guys, walk outside. Everybody talk about some invisible enemy. What about what you can see with your own eyes? No weather is natural. These jokers are spraying every day. A straight line from a cloud from a plane turning for a full-blown cloud. That is not right. We are breathing all this poison, aluminum, barium, strontium. Okay, even with the seeds now, they're Monsanto using Terminator seeds. So all of these things have been going on right before our eyes, but we have somehow managed to cower down and are running afraid while all this stuff continues to happen. We've got to wake up to what's really been going on and then really stop the use of these chemtrails, or as Dave would say, don't use that term because they'll debunk that, but you can always just use the term of geoengineering, okay? No one should be forced to vaccinate their cherished children. Again, that's another form of control, okay? Another form of introducing poison to you. Drugs that eventually kill patients should be removed from the shelves. A full extent of the satanic ritual abuse and the killings must be exposed and outlawed. Respect for all women and children will soon become the norm. Now, there's been a big push, guys, to pull down all these statues and all that. I'll never get down with that narrative because that's just history. But I will go and pull down the statues of the Georgia Guidestones, which, when you understand the essence, who's behind that, to get to humanity to a state of basically 500 million, that means that 7.5 billion of us would have to die. That's the agenda of the people that's been in control, that we continue to run behind and defend and say, oh, no, 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 I want to get them in office. No, these people they're damn crooks, man. They're not for us, man. And it's time that we wake up to what's really been going on. So you want to go pull out a statue, give me a call. We can go to Georgia and pull out them Georgia Guidestones. I'll be the one of the first ones in line. The times when your vote didn't really count and your voice was insignificant will soon be over as part of real change that is coming. This will be the face of the new world in which we, the citizens, will once again decide for ourselves what is to happen. We all have equal voices. Okay, we will all have equal voices. Okay, I'm speaking things prophetically. Sometimes I'll just do that, even not even trying to. Let's direct our energy, our attention, and our awareness of something meaningful again towards creating a world where everyone is liberated and treated with respect, especially the elderly and the young children. All people and races should be able to live in peace, harmony, together as one. So when you see all this stuff going on with these riots, this is not organic, guys. Even when you give into that whole nonsense of the BLM, you're given to your detriment, because you're given to the Soros and this cabal, which they're using that to come in there to create unrest in these cities. They're bringing people in outside the cities to come in and tear up these cities. And then also your money is also used to bail these same characters out, which is so crazy. It's not a natural organic riots. This is stuff that people are coming in from outside to tear up these cities. That's why when they are arresting these people, they notice that none of them are from the city that they are in there terrorizing. They're from other places that have been bust in. It's the same thing when they go into other foreign nations. They'll go sending in these so-called terrorists to send in to do unrest in nations to upset the rulers there. This same thing has been happening on a global level. Now it's happening also in our country. And it's going to continue to happen because these people that's in control of this cabal, they don't want to lose the power. So they're going to have all these other false flags, and they're going to continue to hit you and bombard you with all this nonsense on the mainstream to get you off of what really should be the real topic. But the Galactic Alliance essential execution of their plans to liberate humanity will be the most extraordinary event in the history of the planet Earth. Unfortunately, many amongst us will have no idea what is happening. They will be in for a severe shock. Now, what I would say is the way you can tap in is if you want to go to the right channel, as I've been saying over and over again. You can turn off MSNBC, CNN, CBS, Fox News. All those mainstream stations are not giving you any real information. They are giving you propaganda and misinformation. What I'm giving you now is citizen journalism. This is real information. This is right now revelation, okay? This is what I decided to do to try to wake people up for this next paradigm that's to come, okay? This is the real information. So let it in. You can tap into the right channel. You can tap into people in the ethers. You can tap into this, and you can get your downloads from on high versus the downloads we've been getting from this bogus system that we live under. But everything is connected. Hypocrisy and corruption are rampant in governments, the agencies, and the judicial system. The evidence is ignored, and the facts are misconstrued and twisted to suit the agenda of the controllers who have no desire to serve the people, prevent suffering, or relieve ailments. So even now, you go into the medical field, okay? I've been telling people this often. They have no desire to cure anything, okay? They're not trying to cure, they treat it. Because if they just merely treat an ailment, they keep you coming back forever, okay? That's not how your body is designed to cure and heal itself. but they introduce the poison to you in the form of vaccines, in the form of fluoridation in the water, in the form of what you breathe in all this poison every day, aluminum, barium, and strontium, in the form of what you eat in your food. All these things are to your detriment, okay? And then have you constantly where you have to go back to the doctor, and they have no interest in treating you. They just merely just want to they have no interest in curing you. They just want to just treat you. That means you're going to be a repeat customer over and over again. It could be dangerous to assume that everything is black or white, and it would be wise to take each situation separately rather than attempting to classify information or events in a set of parameters. Everything is connected, yes, but connecting events and facts incorrectly can throw detrimentally fallacious light on them. Until everything is over and we are completely free, we need to remain vigilant and discerning. If we use our critical thinking skills, we can be balanced while remaining open-minded and difficult to fool. That's why I say, as a light, okay, the sunlight, as we interact with that sun, okay, understand that sun, the soul, S-O-L, shall speak to our soul, the S-O-U-L, and they will operate soul to soul. That's how you would know. The soul knows, so it will humble down the ego, and the soul will let you know when you're on the right track. You got to interact with that sunlight. It would also burn out these impurities that they continue to bombard you with, and then you'll be online. That's how the universe communicates with you soul to soul, okay? And that's your sense of discernment. But that's also one of the reasons why they continue with the geoengineering, so they continue to block out the sun, so you don't get that natural sunlight, you don't get that natural consciousness. It gets bounced back off into the universe, and you miss out on that, okay? Expect many things in the world as we know it. People would be shocked by the number of well-known elites who will soon be exposed for their heinous crimes. Okay, huge corporations depending on the old monetary system for contracts are expected to be going down. And guys, so the Great Awakening is for everyone. Let me get this centered so I can read. Okay, the elite have trillions of dollars at stake, so they don't want to lose control. They don't have your well-being at heart. Trump is the existential threat. We are now at the crossroads in the history of our civilizations that will determine whether we, the people, reclaim control over our government. The political establishment is the same group that is responsible for our disastrous economic condition, for the massive illegal immigration, for the wars, and the catastrophic foreign policies. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of factories and jobs. It is a global power structure that is responsible for the economic destruction. This means that you have to wake up and start aiding those of us on the front lines of this war to keep it from reaching your doorstep. Commence with reading for a mere $20 the information compiled in my book, The Great Awakening. So she's plugging her book. Great Awakening soon will be published and will help spread the truth about the deep state, which they don't want anyone to know about. This would be one of the smartest investments in your own and your children's future. This is a struggle for survival of all nations and is our last chance to save them. We, the people, through our efforts, will determine whether we live in a real liberty or enslavement. So ultimately, the GESARA and NESARA and what's about to be instituted is to get rid of these jokers. Again, as David Icke talks about them as shapeshifters, the reptilians, they're on the out. Let them get out, guys. So they have been messing with us for far too long. If you understand, again, Operation Paperclip and all the German scientists, and then also the help that they allegedly got from the ETs, all the information that's been hidden, even down in Antarctica, under the ice, so much stuff that's going on down there. It would just make your head spin. All the hidden technology, Tesla technology, zero-point energy, zero gravity, you name it. It is amazing what's been held against the people. But it is time to wake up. It is time to wake up and get out of this Politricks. And it is time for a new day. So with that, guys, I'm going to end this now. This is Eliante Bell. This has been Right Now Revelation. So guys, this is Eliante Bell. I am in the lab still cooking it up. Pray you guys have been edified by this. Get a copy of my book, Right Now Revelation, available on Amazon or anywhere books are sold. It is a new day, so look into GESARA, NESARA. Before you run out there to the polls, be mindful of these Politricks. This thing is real. Be edified, stay prayed up, because remember that as you pray, there's also those that's looking to pray on you. Be blessed. Take care.